Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Super Fun Happy Arsenal podcast. This is the suburbs edition of Gunnerstown, but this is the Super Fun Awesome Arsenal Fantabulous podcast. I can't even say words. I'm that excited to be sharing 30 minutes of my time and Ben Leader's time. Hello, Ben.
Hello, Christopher.
And also Steve Othan's time. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Christopher.
Are we feeling happy, Steve?
My boss is a Chelsea fan. My stepdad is a Chelsea fan. My brother is a Chelsea fan. Yes, I'm feeling pretty good right now.
I forgot about that. Oh, yes. Love it. No, another Ben in your life, not the fabulous one that we're looking at right now. Another Ben in your life is experiencing a whole world of pain.
Yes.
So let's start with you then, Steve. How much, and we'll click the 30 minutes on, how salty are your family members about Antony Taylor? Let's start with that glorious man, Antony Taylor.
Oh, yeah. It was my stepdad was the first one to just start shouting out things as I'm talking to mum, because he wouldn't come over and watch it. We couldn't watch it together. But my mum, who's an Arsenal fan, just rang me cheering. We're both cheering. He's shouting stuff in the background. He's then sending me the fake picture, which is pretty much Martinez in their goal area when he catches the ball. And then I send him the real one back going, "What are you talking about?" And it just makes me so happy that they're so angry about it. It makes me even happy.
It's like added an extra 25% of juiciness to it, hasn't it, Ben?
Yeah.
Can we swear?
Yeah, of course we can.
Fuck them!
Oh, that was such a poor way of just expressing your joy there. It was just like you had some sort of random stroke or something.
I just really dislike them. As Arsene said about Antony Taylor, you're a disgrace to a federation. Like Chelsea are a disgrace to the federation. And it's just joy beating them. Absolute joy. It makes it 10 times better.
Can I just say, though, I don't know about you guys, but let's talk. So let's get right into the game. I'll ask you for your just general feelings of the game in a second, but let's skip forward just for a second, because we're talking about Antony Taylor, to that penalty. Because I don't know about you guys, but I went absolutely effing nuts when Oba was brought down inside the box. I was like, you're gone. And Antony Taylor pulls out a yellow card. I was absolutely fuming. And then you've got Chelsea fans that are moaning about Antony Taylor and the Kovacic's red card, which, let's face it, was a silly, soft, ridiculous decision by Antony Taylor. But my view is that karma's a bitch, and as they should have been down to 10 men a lot earlier than that. Steve, what do you reckon?
I felt it was like they got all of our bad luck and all of our injury bad luck that we've had over the last few weeks all in one game, and it was fantastic. Me and Ben, I don't know if you saw, Chris, but in the kind of WhatsApp group we were talking about the red card, and I was saying I thought it was. I don't think Rudiger would have got there, even though in the picture, and especially like if Azpilicueta doesn't attack Aubameyang, he definitely doesn't get there.
Yeah, and bearing in mind, this is a centre forward who's got 29, 30 goals this season. If he's bearing down on Willy Caballero, I think we all know that there's going to be one winner there, don't we? But Ben, did you celebrate the penalty when it went in?
I actually did, and I was like you. I lost my head on the whole sort of penalty thing, but when you kind of look back at it, I suppose there's kind of two schools of thought, right? Like the foul technically starts outside the box. So if he goes down at that point, what I'm basically saying is I'm glad it went into the box and we get the penalty and he gets a yellow. Obviously, it would have been great if he goes as well, but I don't think you get we needed the goal basically. I'd rather would have taken the goal over the red card.
Well, yeah, exactly. But that's the thing that really drove me mad, and that's what up until the point in which it hits the net, I was fuming because I was like, right, so this is exactly the same as what happened with David Luiz at Man City. And sort of to a lesser extent what happened at Chelsea. They don't get through a concession of a goal. So that's why it really drove me mad. But ultimately, it doesn't matter because Oba puts the ball in the back of the net. And we're back to 1-1. Steve didn't start like that, though, did it? Thinkings on the first 5-10 minutes. I think probably the first 20 minutes. I'm going to chuck that grenade at you first.
Well, as I said, 1-0 down, 2-1 up. I called it, but I was still really pissed off when we conceded that goal. Actually, when you look at the game as a whole, the drinks breaks did us favours in
Well, we
both
love a drinks
halves.
break,
We
don't
love
we?
a drinks
We
break.
had them forever.
Yeah, I think we should petition to get drinks breaks forevermore, because the first kind of quarter we looked quite shaky and they were on top, and then the third quarter the same. But as soon as we came out the drinks breaks and Arteta got hold of them, we were on top and we sorted it out.
Yeah. Ben, first 15, 20 minutes. What's going through your mind?
You can see why Chelsea have kind of got into the top four because of the sort of tactic to kind of overwhelm. It felt a little bit Sunday League, as in like, let's pressure. I'd be interested to see how they go, like if their goals come in like bursts. Does that make sense? If they get like 1, 2, 3 quickly, because the pressure that they were putting on us, you were thinking, hang on a minute, it's coming, like they're going to score. It wasn't like, oh, we'll ride this out. It was no, actually they're going to score. And then Mount had that moment like really early on where he sort of got through. I thought it was quite clever how he sort of pretty much sat inside, and he got played in, didn't he? Should have played in Giroud, but thank God he didn't, and he lost his head because he was in a cup final and it was just poor effort. But I just think we handled it really well, to be honest. Like Steve said about the drinks break, Arteta telling Tierney to follow Matt, he was like, look, just follow him. And there was points where he was even at like almost like right back, which I thought was absolutely marvellous. But
yeah, do you know what's really interesting?
Well.
The team news comes out, and I think we pretty much expected that sort of team news. I mean, there was question marks over Saka versus Maitland-Niles. He went practically exactly the same as the semi-final. But at times, it didn't feel like we were playing 3 central defenders, left wing back and a right wing back, did it? Because they shifted around so much, and there was times I was watching it going, hold on, Maitland-Niles isn't playing left back here, and then I was like, hold on, Tierney's not playing centre half or left back. It was very, very odd, but that's the kind of dynamism which I'm hoping that we're going to see from next season. And, we'll talk about next season in a minute, because this is the last podcast of this season that we'll do before we crank it back up again for the Community Shield in, about 5-6 weeks' time. So we're not going to have time to have a summer. Week. Yeah, next week. But Steve, what's your view on Maitland-Niles' performance then? And actually, maybe not just Maitland-Niles, but that whole left-hand side, because that's where the goals have come from as well. If you look at Tierney's ball over the top to Aubameyang, have you been surprised? Were you surprised at the inclusion of Maitland-Niles? Were you happy with it? And how do you think he played? And then Tierney as well, his impact.
I don't think I was surprised by his impact, by his kind of inclusion in the starting lineup. I think before the game, if push came to shove, I would have possibly gone for Saka, but actually Maitland-Niles did fine. Obviously, he has to kind of cut back and he has to check in. That can be a bit like, but it worked quite well. But at times, he was the furthest man forward, obviously he did okay, right? We won, and that left-hand side is like, not only is it our powerhouse, it seemed to be their weakness as well. Arteta just didn't have the legs to keep up with Aubameyang. It worked a bit better when Zuma went out there, but then when he had him on the box, he just turned him inside out.
Do you know what? That was one of those things you could just see when Azpilicueta's legs essentially broke in half when he was running. You could just see that we've got these on toast. And I've heard Chelsea fans talk about how poor they are at the back. And I mean, it's a bit pot and kettle because we know how bad we are. But I didn't expect to see as poor. I didn't expect to see a team get roasted as much as they did, because Aubameyang, I think Pepe at times, even Hector Bellerin in the lead up to the goal has ghosted past Chelsea's midfield. It's like the rules were you can't have a midfield yesterday on Sunday, wasn't it, Ben?
Yeah, it's lava. You can't touch it. You could like looking at the first 15 minutes of Chelsea. I know we should be talking about us, but looking at the first 15 minutes of Chelsea, you could see their game plan. But he literally didn't have a plan B, did he? The moment he kind of lost Pulisic, he should have not. He was trying to go man for man, but he should have not done that because it was so open for us and it was ridiculous. And even it felt like mistakes that we would make or would have made in the past. It's like, no, we're continually doing the same thing. It's really obvious what our tactic is here, and you're not doing anything about it. And thank Frank he's in charge, mate. Because a few silly mistakes won us a trophy there.
Yeah, well, I think also we've got to give some props to Mikel Arteta because he knows how to set teams up, doesn't he? Even though we've got quite obvious weaknesses, like I really hope, to touch wood, I really hope this doesn't come back to bite me in the arse. But I looked at Frank Lampard as a manager and what I've seen of him. You know, he seems a likable bloke, to be fair. But Mikel Arteta just seems to get it. He's managing a worse team, and he's delivering results, and he's delivered results on the biggest stage there, and he's won us a cup final. The only thing I'd probably say is that Pulisic injury was quite a game changer because the guy was cropping up on that left-hand side, and I don't know about you guys, but it terrifies me to see Rob Holding wade his way through treacle at the back, and I really do worry. I worry about his long-term future.
Cry.
I worry about his long-term future. Steve, do you worry about his long-term future, or do you just think that this is an injury-based thing?
I'm kind of in a different position to where I've been in a lot of kind of recent Arsenal teams. If you think about the squads that we've been through, as you both know, I can get quite kind of loyal with certain players and want players to be given more of a chance, and you end up thinking about players. Whereas now I'm completely on this Mikel Arteta bus, and I'm like, I don't really worry about Rob Holding, because if Mikel Arteta doesn't want him, then I don't want him. If Mikel Arteta does want him, then I'll get behind that, and I'll hope he gets the best out of him. It is a shame in terms of, the Rob Holding that we saw a couple of seasons ago looked like he was going to come in and just be absolutely out of this world. I don't think he's been really, really, really terrible, just compared to what we thought he was going to be. He hasn't quite got to those heights.
The problem is he's just got no pace. I don't know, Ben, if you want to just jump in on this one as well, but I just think you can't not have pace in the modern game. And it seems like since Liverpool and City have really they've upped the game, really, haven't they? They'll be number 1 and 2 next season, I'm sure of it. But it almost feels to me like you can't be a defender without pace in this league anymore, unless you're going to play for some Mickey Mouse team, towards the bottom of the league where you're essentially camped on the edge of your box. You can't be playing for a top 8, top 6 team and not have pace. Give me some thoughts on that, Ben. And also, the Pulisic moment. I mean, was that a big game changer for you? The Pulisic moment.
Yeah. Well, to sort of like combine both of those kind of points, like Bobby Holding, unfortunately, I think he's peaked. You know what I mean? Like, I know we're talking about injuries and things that have gone wrong, but I think that this is just his level, right? We come in and we set hopes on players. We look at all players all the time because we want him to do well, because he's such a sort of a likable guy, right? He's like kind of like Maitland-Niles. They're in this kind of almost Danny Welbeck to what he was to Man United element, where he's kind of one of ours and he's likable and you want him to do well, but you just really know deep down that if you're talking elite, which I think that you are, he is not, unfortunately. Someone good to go around, and like what Steve said, basically, if Arteta wants him, I'm in, because what he's done with like Mustafi, what he's done with Xhaka, as in mentally as well. I don't literally just mean on the pitch. I mean mentally, what he's been able to give them, like to sort of instill into them, and like other players were like Pepe. Like I was only saying like 2 or 3 weeks ago how sort of shy he seemed, and how we're going to see these like 7 out of or 6 out of 10 type performances where it's just about recycling the ball, getting the ball, passing it on, blah 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 blah. But he had both at the weekend. He was getting the ball, he was doing madness, and then Bobby Holding, I know he's got done for the first goal, but Pulisic is very, very good. Like he is like actually elite. Like it's scary. So I'm not really like whoa on that, but it's about setting it up correctly, and I trust him. Like Steve said, I trust him to kind of put him in safer almost situations.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to stay with you, Ben, just for a quick one then, because talk to me about your favourite Arsenal player of the day. Who was the best player on the pitch? And then Steve, I'll ask you that same question next.
Can I only pick one? I can pick one.
Yeah. Pick one. Best player.
Oh, sugar. Well, the actual correct answer is Kieran Tierney, but I'm gonna give my heart to Martinez.
I thought you might go Ceballos because he had a good game as well.
He was very good.
Thinking
but
you might go Ceballos.
Tierney was the best player on the pitch by a mile. Did not put a foot wrong. Every pass, every tackle, every header. He ran Mount out of that game. Once Arteta said, "Look, there's your lad." He did not touch the ball again. He was outrageous. He's so good.
Yeah, we all love a bit of Kieran Tierney as well. He's so down to earth and nice as well. Ben, give me yours. Steve, sorry, give me yours.
Can I just firstly say that I tweeted earlier from my secondary account that somebody at Sky Sports gave Kieran Tierney a 6 out of 10.
What?
And somebody needs sacking.
Yeah.
Because the goal, you can't. He was there for the goal, but you can't blame him. That was good play from Pulisic. And I think going back to the centre back thing, I think you're right, Ben. Like Holding, I don't think he's going to be great, but I don't think you can hold too much against him for not keeping up with someone like Pulisic. But on this was good. Tierney was good, but I can't look past it because what a finish to go, and especially when you hear what Ben tweeted, where it's listening in, and you can hear them saying about he's going to shoot on his right foot, and you're like, up yours, mate.
Yeah. You could even so that video, that's the video that you put, isn't it, Ben? You put a video onto Twitter, and someone even says right foot, and then he just like, nah, left foot, dink. But I did that whole, where you're sitting down on the edge of your seat and you're watching it, and you see him do that shimmy, and I just stood, sort of not standing up, not sitting down, just halfway frozen between standing up and sitting down, and then he's beaten Zuma, and then he just lifts the ball over, and it just erupts into a full-blown sort of jumping up and down with your arms in the air. It was absolutely brilliant. And then followed, what was that, like it was like 20 minutes or 25 minutes of absolute hell. I don't know about you guys, but I basically went through hell for 25 minutes because this is big. Yeah. This feels big. Like, Ben, we talked, was it last week or the week before? You said, we're in trouble. We talked about the financial side of it, but also the mental side of it as well. So talk to me about where we are now.
Sliding doors moment.
Sliding doors. That's what I was.
We've kicked it down, mate. Kicked it down. No, but this is what it was, right? I was saying, like, I'm quite anxious. Like, we haven't even spoke about Aubameyang yet. We need to do that in a minute. But Aubameyang was absolutely everything. And the bit after that, did I retweet the video and put it in the WhatsApp group where he does that like dance and then they all start dancing with him? Like, that sums up everything that he's about for the team. For the maybe, like, I suppose on paper he's not this kind of like traditional type captain. Do you know what I mean? Like passion and but they love him. Pin him down wherever he is right now. Get him to sign that piece of paper. What a man.
In blood.
In blood. What a guy. Blood.
Steve, wax lyrical about Aubameyang for me.
I'm in love with him and may actually have his babies just from watching him.
Even though that's physically impossible.
Well, I think it might be possible because that's the way I feel.
So, in your mind, then, let's talk 250 grand a week, 3-year deal or 3-year deal, no brainer. What is it? People have said he'll be 33, 34 years old.
Yeah. Stop that. This is football. Like, people are getting carried away. Like, just to finish off what you asked me initially, like it's the sliding doors moment, right? We lose this, we feel terrible about ourselves. We're looking at it, we're thinking, oh my God, but now we're kind of in this position where we have got the ability to sign this absolute elite striker. Yes, it's a lot of money. Yes, boring, but he is so good at football. So good. And the way Arteta's talking, he's going to put him at centre forward. And then what happens then? Magic happens. Do it.
Do you think he will? So I guess we've got about 10 minutes left. I want to talk about how big this is, Arteta winning a trophy quite early on. But then I suppose we should probably also talk about some of the transfer guff that has been coming out, because you've got noises about Lacazette to Juventus, and you've got noises that are even stronger about Willian joining us. So who wants to talk about Lacazette, and who wants to talk about Willian?
Well, Ben quite likes Lacazette, doesn't
Ben
he?
loves, he loves
Don't make me do-
Lacazette. So
Steve-
Ben, why don't you talk about Lacazette?
I've actually packed his bags. He's gone.
What about go on?
Say that again.
I was going to say, what about if all Juve are saying is a swap deal? If you say Aaron Ramsey, then I'm going to delete this podcast.
You didn't even give me a chance to say Aaron James Ramsey, but it wouldn't be Aaron James Ramsey. But I wouldn't swap him. No, I would sell him, because I think it would allow us to, if Willian comes in, play Willian on the left, Aubameyang and Pepe up front, and it feels a bit more sort of balanced.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And Steve, do you think Willian's a good? Let's actually spend a couple of minutes on this. What's your views on Willian potentially signing, given how strong it sounds?
Yeah, I would take Willian. I know, all the talk is, we need to focus on centre midfield, we need to focus on centre back, we've got enough wingers, but actually we haven't got enough good wingers, because otherwise our best striker wouldn't be playing on the wing, right? So we do, if we can get him on a free and look at the other positions as well. I'm not saying I'd be happy if we don't sign a centre back, but if we can get Willian, I'd do it.
Ben?
Yeah. I actually think this is like semi-sensible, right? There's a pandemic.
What, 3-year deal plus one? That's what was being talked.
It's a pandemic. We don't technically have any money. Will he stay for that period of time? Yes, like if you look at the deal in isolation, you're like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. Like, what are we doing? But we are how many points behind Liverpool? We need to actually bring in players that are going to come in and actually do something. Yes, we all want to sign a 23-year-old Brazilian who's the next Pele or next Martinelli. But I think you've kind of got to be semi-realistic. Like we don't or can't. We know the money drill. We don't or can't spend the money. If we can sign someone on a free, I'm air quoting podcasters, but of that ability, he still can play. There's still like 2 years left, and if it duffs off, what do we do with him? Send him off like Mkhitaryan? Like,
yeah, I think that's the only thing that's going through my mind, and the reason why I'm hesitant is because, number one, it's like £250,000 a week, supposedly, for a 3-year deal for a guy that's going to end up being 35 years old. We've had our fingers burnt with Mkhitaryan. We've had our fingers extremely burnt with Ozil, and we've now people are literally calling him, saying Ozil's bogarting us. I mean, it's turned into an adjective, for Christ's sake.
I absolutely love it.
Being bogarted is, and that's what's happened. The last thing we want is a player who's going to decline to be stuck around. If it was do you know what? If it was a 2-year deal or a 1+1 like the David Luiz thing for a free transfer, I'd be saying that is absolutely mustard. Go for it. Brilliant. Top work, Arsenal. Done it again. But there's something about also the fact that it's another one of Kia's boys, and I do think that Raul Sanyehi, I think his little book of contacts that he binned off Sven Mislintat for essentially just is one A4 sheet of paper with the word Kia Drabshan repeatedly written on it in different coloured font.
Kia Drabshan in red.
Yeah.
No. I completely understand what you're saying. I almost understand, like, maybe I'm still pissed from the weekend, but like in my head, if this current Arsenal team, like forgetting about money because it's nothing to do with me, can sign a player that's better than what we've got for air quoting for nothing, I don't see why we don't do that. Like the thing is, like, if you look at as a whole package, right? Maybe you get rid of Torreira, you get rid of 3 or 4 players, insert players of choice, and then the deal itself doesn't seem so bad because wages have been freed up from somewhere else. So like as a package, it might be better. Just right now, it's just like, ooh.
Yeah.
All right. So we've done that. Let's not talk too much or dwell on transfers. I'm sure there'll be that sort of nonsense that'll happen over the next few weeks. But let's talk about the actual importance of winning a shiny silver trinket, as Arteta has done. How big is that for him? in terms of validation? Steve, I'll go with you on this one. And what do you think it does in terms of setting us up for next year?
Well, it's massive for him. You think of his CV. He's been, if you ignore the break, he hasn't been there very long at all, and has taken over a complete shit show, and has gone on to win a trophy. And which then automatically qualifies us, straight into Europa League. We don't even have to go through qualifying and stuff like that. So for him, that's massive. And for us, it's even bigger. Number 14, another trophy. It's absolutely fantastic. Sets us. Everyone's got to believe in him now, right? Even if you had your doubts, some people strangely did have doubts, whether you agree with that or not. You've got to back him now. The board have got to back him. The players have got to believe even more than they already do, because he's already proven that what he's doing is working. So I think it's huge.
Mm-hmm. Ben?
It's, like when a player turns up, like, remember when Arshavin did that goal against Blackburn, and you kind of go, we all went, oh shit, like what? Like, he's well good. And like, I was trying to think about other moments that, like, I know I already said about the Aubameyang moment where he danced over and all the other players are watching. It feels like that's almost like Arteta's like, hang on a minute, because like Steve was saying, and you as well, Chris, we were quite keen for him to come initially. Maybe like the timing wasn't right then, and that's maybe a conversation for a different day. But it actually proves that what we were thinking and seeing is real. Like, he has won a trophy with this absolutely atrocious football team in like 100 days. Is it 100 days? More?
Something like that. Yeah.
If
you take out COVID and stuff.
He's beaten Man City, Chelsea, and in brackets Liverpool, and then gone and won an FA Cup with Mustafi and Bobby holding at the back. Knighting.
But also, think about it, the injuries, the suspension, some of the decisions as well that we've had against us.
Xhaka walked off, mate.
Yeah.
Xhaka walked off.
We had a guy who had 1 foot in Berlin going to Hertha Berlin, and he turned into an absolute linchpin at the side. This has been the most bizarre season ever. But I think this FA Cup is massive because it gives validation, like we've pretty much I'm just reiterating really, it gives validation to Arteta for his methods. You've got players in that dressing room that are going to go, this guy, like they already talked about it. David Luiz said it, like after it was either the Man City game, it was one of the games that we played this season. He said, this coach is going places. And it's all right if the players start believing that, but you need that big win, which we got against Liverpool, and we got against Man City. And then players need to be able to see, we can win these shiny silver trinkets. Mm-hmm. This is amazing. We can get winners' medals here. And in terms of, even though we haven't got Champions League football, imagine the narrative now if you're Mikel Arteta, if you're talking to a player X, who's pretty good, and you're saying, look, we finished 8th last season. I wasn't here from the start. We did finish with an FA Cup. And also, if you're coming to Arsenal, FA Cup winners this year, Europa League finalists last year, all right, it was an absolute shit show, but, still finalists. Year before, League Cup against Man City, all right, lost that, but you're still going to a final. Year before that, beating Chelsea in the FA Cup. Arsenal, if you come to Arsenal, you are going to get opportunities to win things. You might not always win things, but you're going to get opportunities. And now with me at the helm, Arteta, I am going to be able to set my team up in a way, and you're going to be part of that. He can really sell. I feel like he can actually sell a vision, which is quite an exciting thing. I'll be honest to say. So we've all established that Aubameyang needs to sign. You two are absolutely cock a hoop over the prospect of Willian. I'm not sure. We're all very, very happy about the FA Cup. What happens now this summer? We've got 2 minutes. Where do you see this summer going? Steve, I'll start with you.
I think the scariest thing for me is, even pre-COVID situation, I would have been worried about how much money they give him. With the COVID situation, even more worried that we're going to be scraping the barrel in terms of, transfer funds and stuff. So this is I know we've won the FA Cup. We said that was a sliding door moment, but I think this transfer window is as well. It's going to be really interesting to see who he gets rid of and who he can bring in. But I'm excited. I am really excited, and it's been quite a while since you could really say that, I think, as an Arsenal fan, in terms of hope. And not hope, they always get you with the bloody hope, that's what kills it, but the actual
Ain't that the truth?
truthful excitement. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do and what kind of player he's going to sign and who he's going to bin. Yeah, excited.
Ben?
Yeah, just to piggyback off Steve, basically, it's obviously a very difficult time with what's going on, but obviously we live in football land, so the difficulty is trying to close the gap on the teams that are above us, because Man City apparently 300 million to spend. United are trying to buy Sancho for 120 million. No doubt Liverpool will get in. There's obviously Thiago chat. I forgot, Chelsea have gone and spent how much already?
Yeah, they're going crazy.
We were how many points behind them already? So for me, that is kind of the fear. It's like, let's see what they can do, and it will just be who they can get money for. I think, like, how much do we actually eventually get for Guendouzi, who's a twat, by the way. Let me say that on the internet. And the others, basically, whoever goes out, it just how the jigsaw comes together. I'm just hopefully I hope that he wants Willian. I hope that he wants Coutinho. Yeah. I hope he wants, I don't even know who else we've been linked with, but I hope all these names are Arteta saying, I actually want that guy, as opposed to being completely agent driven. Yes, we're going to have to toy with that now, and it's going to mess with our emotions and make us think about weird stuff. But I just hope that it is Arteta, though, you know what I mean, ticking the final box as opposed to the club.
Yeah.
Before we move on from Guendouzi, he must feel so stupid right now.
He's on holiday, mate.
but he must be thinking, like, there must be some part of him that must be thinking, actually, if I'd have just got my head down and got on with it and listened to this guy, I could have been a big part of something quite special. Whereas now he's just going to be pissed off. Yeah.
Ainsley Maitland-Niles 3 months ago was nowhere near this first team.
Yeah.
Guendouzi was a regular. And who's the one that's picked up a cup winners medal, and who's the one that's played in the game and played well? So, that's just something to think about. And I think you're right. I think the jigsaw thing really stuck in my head, what you said, Ben, because we have got a jigsaw that needs to be put together now, and we've got pieces that basically are from some other box over there that we're just going to have to go and grab, and we've got other pieces over here. It's like your mum's just chucked all of the bits in. You've got to make something together from it. Yeah. We are going to need to shift out some players, and like you said, I just hope that he shifts out players that don't fit the system, and the players that come in fit the system. Like, I'm not really that fussed about the names, but I just need to know that they're the right type of player. I think that's the key for me. And as long as that's the case, then I think we can go on to do big things, lads. Big things. And on that note, we've got our 30 minutes up. That's been it. That went far too quickly. Far too quickly. We are going to call time. Ben, thank you very much for joining us. Up the Arsenal, FA Cup winners 14 times.
Yes.
And Steve.
And Chris, you didn't even discuss how Pepe's ball was behind Aubameyang.
Let's save the waxing more lyrical over Pepe for another day.
No, I jest. I thought he did well. He won a few fouls and stuff. He carried the ball quite well. Lost it a couple of times, but I loved that tackle against Pedro when he got his body in the way and stuff. Yeah.
More of that needed. More of that needed. And there'll be more of us when we come back for the new season. You'll hear more from the Gunnerstown crew, and Ben and myself and Steve are going to jump onto some of the midweek podcasts, but there'll be a rotation of it. But hope you've enjoyed listening to us. We've only done about 6 of these since the restart, but we'll be back for the whole of next season. Thoroughly looking forward to it. Up the Arsenal. Lads, say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.